Let us proceed with the component continuation part of component of a vector. So here I have considered a three-dimensional space x, y, z, and I have considered one of the cubic section. So let it be the origin O. So now you can see the distance from origin to this point along the y-axis. Let this distance or this be equal to y, and I name it as S. And similarly, the distance from origin to this point along the x-axis, let it be x. Similarly, the distance from origin to this point along the z-axis, let it be z. Okay, so now you came across, let this point be q and this point be r. Okay, so now you can see that the distance from the origin to point Q along the x-axis as distance x, and this distance as y, and this distance as z. And we know that from the previous concept which I had said already, the one unit along the y-axis we will call it as j cap, and one unit along the x-axis we will call it as I cap, and one unit along the z-axis we will call it as k cap. So the scalar of this along the y-axis, this is the scalar component, or the distance is y. So if I multiply y with the j cap, it becomes the distance of vector OS, it becomes yj cap, vector OQ becomes xi cap, vector OR becomes zk cap. So now let us consider a point P on the space such that, since this one is x, this one is x, this one is y, and this one is z, means so this point will become P of x comma y comma z, and the position vector joining the P from the origin, let it be vector r. So this is the outline regarding this diagram. So if let P be any point on the space such that P of x comma y comma z is a point and r be the vector, means then the component of this position vector, or the component of the point P, or the component of the position vector OP, which is nothing but vector r. So it is nothing but xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. It is nothing but component of the P, the coordinates of the P, that is x, y, z. So x along with the I cap, y along with the j cap, and z along with the k cap. It is nothing but a component of the any point in the vector space. So this is how we are going to get the component of the vector. So this is a general thinking, or which you can easily remember how to write the component of a vector. So this is I have gave the outline idea, but how it has been came from, how we are going to derive this one. So let us see that one. So if this is a point P of x comma y comma z, means let this point be P1, which is perpendicular, let so that perpendicular to this foot xy plane. For the xy plane, P1 is perpendicular. So you can see that P1 line, it is parallel to z axis. It is parallel to z axis. And you can also see that the distance, vector PPI, this one is equal to OR. Imagine it in the three-dimensional space. This is a cubic box. This length, the PPI vector, it is equal to the, not PPI, P1P. So the vector is like this. So P1P. So the P1P is equal to our vector OR. What is vector OR? That is nothing but zk cap. Similarly, our QP1, that is nothing but qp1 vector, it is equal to our what? Our vector os, which is nothing but yj cap, and remaining our o vector oq, which is equal to xi cap. So by looking into this diagram, we have set up the requirements what we and all needed. Now let us consider what we require, what is the agenda to do all these things. We need the component of this vector, that is position vector OP. We need the component of this vector R, that is vector OP. We need this. What is the component of this vector? So I will join this OP1. Now consider the triangle QOP1. So now while considering the triangle by using the triangular law, what it happens? Vector OQ plus vector QP1 is equal to what? Vector OP1. This is using the triangular law. So what is vector OQ? It is nothing but our xi cap. What is vector QP1? You can see here QP1 vector is equal to vector OS is equal to yj cap, which is equal to vector OP1. So the resultant of this these two vector will give us what? Vector OP1 is equal to xi cap plus yj cap. Now I will consider which triangle? I'll consider this triangle OP1P. Now I'll consider OP1P. Again here also by using the triangular law, what happens? First thing, it is vector OP1 along this direction plus vector P1P, which is equal to what? Our vector OP, which is the required vector. That is what required, right? So what is vector OP1 is saying? It is nothing but xi cap plus yj cap. What is P1P vector is saying? P1P vector, you can see here, it is nothing but zk cap, which is equal to vector OP. So this is what I have said in the beginning itself. If simply they have given any points, means then the component of that vector is nothing but the coordinate of that point along with the respective unit vector. So that is what we have derived now. Vector OP is equal to xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. This is nothing but the component form of a vector. This is nothing but the component form of a vector, where x, y, z are called as scalar components, where x, y, z are called as scalar components, and xi cap, yj cap and zk cap, these are called as vector components. So remember these 2 points, very important for 1 marks question. You can, because most of the people will confuse in this part. For example, suppose if they have given 3i cap plus 4j cap minus 5k cap, let it be some vector A. If they asked you to write the scalar components, means what you are going to write? The scalar component of vector A is 3, 4, minus 5. If they asked you the vector components of this is nothing but, at that time you should write 3i cap, 4j cap, minus 5k cap. Remember 3, 4, minus 5. Only this means it is a scalar component along with the I cap, j cap, k cap. It is called as vector components. So this is how, this is what the important thing which you keep in your mind. Here you got the component of the vector, that is you got vector R is equal to xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. You got the component form of the vector. Now you need to find what is the magnitude of this vector. So how you are going to find? So you can see clearly that our triangle OQP1, it is what? It is nothing but our right angled triangle. So by applying the Pythagoras theorem for this triangle and again applying the same Pythagoras theorem for this triangle, because even this triangle is also right angled triangle, by applying 2 times Pythagoras theorem, we will get the magnitude of this vector OP. So in this triangle, what this in OP, in triangle OQP1, you can see that magnitude of vector OP1 square is equal to, see, OP1 square, this is our hypotenuse, vector OP1 square, because this is our right angled here, OP1 square is equal to magnitude of vector OQ square plus magnitude of vector QP1 square. So what is our OQ? It is nothing but xi, magnitude of this one is nothing but x square plus y square, because here we have vector OQ, it is nothing but xi cap, but they have asked magnitude, so only x, so x square plus y square. So magnitude OP, it is nothing but square root of x square plus y square. And again I consider this triangle, that is triangle OP1P. Again this one is also right angle triangle. So now again applying here our Pythagoras theorem for this triangle, what we are going to get? Vector OP is equal to vector OP square, it is equal to magnitude OP1 square plus P1P. So here is also vector P1 square. So what is vector OP? So sorry, it is OP1 here. So OP1, what is our vector OP1? Square means it comes here, that is nothing but x square plus y square. What about P1 P square? It is nothing but z square. So if I transfer this square to the RHS, we will get square root. So magnitude of vector OP is nothing but square root of x square plus y square plus z square. So it is clear that if vector R, it is the component form of any vector is nothing but xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap, and the magnitude of that vector is nothing but square root of x square plus y square plus z square. Remember this one, very important. So this is the basic of this vector algebra. So any vector, it can be represented in the component form in this form, and the magnitude of that vector will be always square root of x square plus y square plus z square. So now let us go with some of the properties based upon this component form of a vector. What are the some of the properties they are going to say? Suppose they have given vector A and vector B in the component form, like vector A is given as a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 k cap, and vector B is given as b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus b3 k cap. Now if we are going to add these two vectors, that is vector A plus vector B, if I am going to add these two vectors, what happens? What is vector A? It is nothing but a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 k cap plus what is vector B? b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus b3 k cap. Now while adding, I am going to add the corresponding elements regarding our I cap. So what are the corresponding elements with I cap? That is a1 plus b1 I cap plus a2 plus b2 j cap plus a3 plus b3 k cap. So this is nothing but if you are going to add any two vectors, this will going to happen. Suppose if I am going to subtract any two vector, means vector A, component of vector A minus component of vector B, again subtracting the corresponding elements, that is a1 minus b1 I cap, a2 minus b2 I cap A3 minus B3 K cap. Sorry, this one is J cap and this one is K cap. Now, next one. This is regarding addition and subtraction. Second, suppose if I am going to say this vector A is equal to vector B. Suppose if these two vectors are equal, means what is the condition? That is if and only if condition. If vector A is equal to vector B, means then the corresponding elements must be equal. That is A1 must be equal to B1, A2 must be equal to B2 and A3 must be equal to B3. So this is the if and only if condition, which we have already know this one in from the mathematical reasoning of the last year section. So if two vectors are said to be equal, means then the corresponding elements must be equal. Then suppose if I am going to multiply any scalar, suppose if I am going to multiply any scalar to the vector called A, that scalar be equal to lambda, then what happens to our lambda into vector A? It is nothing but lambda. What is our vector A? A1 I cap plus A2 J cap plus A3 K cap. So that lambda is multiplied to each and every element. So lambda A1 I cap plus lambda A2 J cap plus lambda A3 K cap. So these are the some of the properties which we are going to study along with the component form of the vectors. So suppose if I consider A and B are the two vectors and K and M are any two scalars, means there are some of the distributive properties which you can see here. Then K A vector plus M A vector, where K and M are scalars. That is that what happens, that one K plus M into A vector. Suppose if K is multiplied to M into vector A, it is also equal to K into M vector A. And this one is also equal to K into vector A plus K into vector B. So this is some of the distributive properties which is explained along with the multiplication of a scalar to a vector. So these are the properties, some of the properties which we have studied, which we have come under with the component of a vector. So remember, again I am saying component of a vector, it is represented in xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap, and the resultant the magnitude of that vector is always square root of x square plus y square plus z square. So unit vector, the thing which I have mentioned in the beginning itself. So if they have given any vector, means we are going to find the unit vector with the formula A cap is equal to vector A divided by resultant, not even the resultant, magnitude of the vector A. Suppose they have given me any vector A which is equal to 2i cap plus 3j cap plus k cap. If they have given, this is as our vector A, and they asked you to find the unit vector. They asked you to find the unit vector of this given vector. So what we have the formula, that is vector A cap is equal to vector A divided by magnitude of the vector A. So first let us find what is the magnitude of vector A. So what is the formula to find the magnitude of vector A? If R is given, so how we are going to find the magnitude of vector R? That is nothing but x square plus y square plus z square. So square of the scalar component. So what are that one? Square root of 2 square plus 3 square plus 1 square. So it is nothing but 2 square, it is 4, 3 square 9, 1 square 1. So it is nothing but root 14. 9 plus 1, 10 plus 4, 14. So root 14. So the magnitude of vector A is nothing but root 14. So now substitute that one here. So A cap, what is our vector A? 2i cap plus 3j cap plus k cap divided by root 14. So it is represented as 2 divided by root 14 I cap plus 3 divided by root 14 j cap plus 1 divided by root 14 k cap. So this is nothing but our unit vector of a given vector. So this is how we are going to find a unit vector of a given vector. Suppose if they have given, this is one of the concept. So as I said, I am going to clear all the things which I have covered right till now with after completion of the concept of a component of a vector. So unit vector concept is like this. If they have given any vector means this is how we are going to find the unit vector. Suppose if they have given our vector A has 2i cap plus yj cap plus 3k cap and vector B is equal to xi cap plus 4j cap plus zk cap and asked you to find x, y, z. We need to find this value such that our vector A is equal to vector B. If they are saying these two vectors are equal and they are saying you to find x, y, z means what is the thing? Okay, they are saying vector A is equal to vector B. If vector A is equal to vector B, what does that implies? Corresponding elements of vector A and vector B are equal. So 2 is equal to x and what? Y is equal to 4 and 3 is equal to z. So what happens? The value of x is equal to 2, y is equal to 4 and z is equal to 3. This is how we are using the equality of two vectors to get the values of x, y and z. So here is another question which will make you a clear understanding between what is when we are going to say the two vectors, I mean the magnitude of two vectors are equal and when we are saying the two vectors are equal. So they have given here two vectors, that is vector A has 1i cap plus 2j cap and vector B is equal to 2i cap plus j cap, and they asked to check whether the magnitude of these two vectors are equal and also they asked us to check whether these two vectors are equal. Okay, what about the magnitude of vector A? So magnitude of vector A, the formula which is already as I said, it is nothing but 1 square plus 2 square, sum of the square of the component scalar components, that is nothing but 1 plus 4 which is equal to root 5. What about the magnitude of our vector B? It is also equal to 2 square plus 1 square, it is nothing but 4 plus 1 which is equal to root 5. So clearly I can say the magnitude of vector A is equal to magnitude of vector B. But what about the whether vector A is equal to vector B? When we are saying these two vectors are equal, if corresponding elements of these two vectors are equal. So what is vector A? It is I cap plus 2j cap. What is vector B? It is 2i cap plus j cap. Compare the corresponding elements of I cap. Here it is 1, here it is 2. Whether it are equal? No, it is not equal. And also you can check here also. This one is also not equal. So vector A is not equal to vector B, but our magnitude of vector A is equal to magnitude of our vector B. So understand what is magnitude of vector A and vector B is saying and what is vector A and vector B is saying. Please understand the discrimination between these two elements. So let us go with the condition of a collinearity of vector. So what is collinearity of vector? If I consider any two vectors, say vector A and vector B means, then these two vectors are said to be collinear if both are parallel to each other or both vectors are lying on the same line. Then we say that vector A and vector B are collinear. Suppose now I consider, let this be vector A and let this be vector B and let this be our vector C. Now consider vector A and vector B. Okay, vector A and vector B are parallel to each other. So vector A and vector B are collinear. So you can observe here the direction of vector A and the direction of vector B are same. So there is no change in the direction. And what is the change between A and B? So the difference between A and B is nothing but the magnitude. So it can be balanced by vector A is equal to some lambda times vector B. If I write like this, direction is same between vector A and vector B and the magnitude of vector A and B, it is balanced with some scalar lambda. So with that lambda, now we can say that vector A is equal to lambda times vector B. Now look into the vector A and vector C. You can see here the direction of these two vectors are in the opposite side, and even there is changes in their magnitude also. So opposite side direction, it can be balanced by negative sign, that is vector A is equal to some negative times vector C. So the direction is balanced with the minus sign, but again here also there is some magnitude, so I will balance it one with by minus lambda. So by looking into this, so either the direction is upon the same direction or it might be the opposite direction. The major condition what it is saying is, if two vectors, say vector A and vector B, if this one is said to be collinear, so if these two vectors are said to be collinear, if and only if vector A is equal to some lambda times vector B, where lambda, it might be positive as well as it might be some negative quantity also. So vector A is equal to some lambda times vector B. So suppose if I write vector A with its component form, that is a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 k cap, and vector B with its component, that is b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus b3 k cap, then you can see here, you are substituting that one component form here, what it happens, a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 k cap is equal to some lambda times b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus b3 k cap. So what happens, by multiplying that lambda in the RHS to each and every component, it becomes lambda times b1 I cap, lambda times b2 j cap, lambda times b3 k cap. So now these two vectors are equal, means what happens, according to the equality of two vectors, the corresponding elements are equal, that is a1 is equal to lambda times b1, a2 is equal to some lambda times b2, and a3 is equal to some lambda times b3. Suppose if I take the ratio of a1 by b1, which is equal to lambda, a2 by b2, which is equal to lambda, a3 by b3, which is equal to lambda, so that is nothing but a1 by b1 is equal to a2 by b2 is equal to a3 by b3, which is equal to lambda. So the components of the corresponding components will be proportionate to some lambda. Suppose if they have given a vector A which is equal to 2i cap plus 3j cap plus 4k cap, and vector B is equal to 4i cap plus 6j cap plus 8k cap, and asked you to show that vector A and vector B are collinear, means how we are going to show that these two vectors are collinear. So consider the vector B, that is 4i cap plus 6j cap plus 8k cap. From this, which is a scalar element, I can take common outside. 2 can be taken outside. After taking 2 outside, what it happens, 2i cap plus 3j cap plus 4k cap. After taking 2 common outside, so 2, what is this one, it is nothing but vector A. So here I expressed vector B is equal to some scalar times vector B. So by expressing these two vectors in this form, I can say that vector A and vector B are collinear. So because the condition for collinearity is that itself, two vectors are said to be collinear if and only if vector A is some lambda times vector B. If I express any vector has some lambda times of another vector, means then these two vectors are said to be collinear. So now let us go with the concept of direction ratios and direction cosine. In the previous concept, I have said that direction ratios, it is nothing but A, B, C, which is nothing but the component of the vectors, and the direction cosine, it is nothing but L, M, and how we are going to find those L, M, and N. Now suppose if the vector is given in the form, here consider vector A and its component form, then if they ask what is the direction ratio of that vector, means if they ask direction ratio, then write it directly, that is a1, a2, a3. It is nothing but the direction ratio. Whatever the given vector might be, the components, I mean scalar component of that vector will be the direction ratios. And what about the direction cosines? So before saying what about direction cosines, there is one of the beautiful relation between what direction cosines and unit vector. Direction cosine and unit vector. So we know that the direction cosines are nothing but L, M and N. So if direction cosines are L, M and N, then L I cap plus M J cap plus N K cap, it is nothing but the unit vector. It is nothing but the unit vector when L, M, N are the direction cosines, where L is nothing but cos alpha I cap plus cos beta j cap plus cos gamma k cap. This is nothing but the unit vector where cos alpha, cos beta, cos gamma are the direction cosines, where alpha, beta, gamma are the direction angles. So this is a relation between a direction cosine and the unit vector. So by this one, you can, with this relation, I can easily say how you can determine the direction cosine. So briefly saying means, if L, M, N are the direction cosine, means Li cap plus Mj cap plus Nk cap will be the unit vector. In other words, if I say means, if we consider any unit vector means, then the component or the scalar component of the unit vectors are nothing but the direction cosines, right? Understood what I am saying? If I consider any unit vector means, then the scalar component of that unit vector will become the direction cosines. So if they have given a vector A, which is nothing but a1 I cap, a2 j cap and a3 k cap, and asked you to find the direction cosine of this vector, direction ratios are nothing but what? It is nothing but a1, a2 and a3. If they asked you to find direction, so this will become the direct ratio. Suppose if they asked you to find the direction cosine. So observe here clearly. First thing, for a given vector A, let us find the unit vector. Let us find the unit vector. How we are going to find the unit vector? It is nothing but A cap is equal to vector A divided by magnitude of vector A. So what is our vector A? It is a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 k cap. What about the magnitude of vector A? It is nothing but a1 square plus a2 square plus a3 square. So if I write it as a1 divided by square root of all these things I cap plus a2 of square root of all these things j cap plus a3 of square root of all these things k cap. So now this is our unit vector. This is what? Our unit vector. So we have relations, right? In the unit vector, this component, scalar component of the unit vector will be our direction cosine. Since they ask the direction cosines, this is nothing but our direction cosines. So this is nothing but our L, M, N. For example, if I consider a vector A which is equal to 3i cap plus 4j cap into k cap, they asked you to find the direction ratio and direction cosines. Okay, what is the direction ratio of this vector? That is, vector A is direction ratio, it is A is equal to 3, B is equal to 4 and C is equal to 1. They asked you to find the direction cosine. So let us first find what? The unit vector. Find the unit vector. How we are finding the unit vector? A cap is equal to vector A divided by magnitude of vector A. So what is the magnitude of vector A? It is nothing but square root of 3 square plus 4 square plus 1 square. It is nothing but 3 square 9, 4 square 16 plus 1, 9 plus 1 10, 10 plus 16 26. So square root of 26. So we got the magnitude of a given vector. Now let us find what is the unit vector. So unit vector, it is nothing but 3i cap plus 4j cap plus k cap divided by root 26. So it is nothing but 3 by root 26 I cap plus 4 by root 26 j cap plus 1 by root 26 k cap. This is our unit vector. Therefore, our direction cosines are represented by DC, that is L, M, N is equal to 3 by root 26, 4 by root 26, 1 by root 26. So because these are the direction cosines. That is what they are saying, right? If we have given a unit vector means then these are nothing but the direction cosine. So one important note which you need to keep in your mind, in the unit vector, okay, remember in unit vector, that is a cap is equal to li cap, mj cap and nk cap. If this one is a unit vector means then the direction ratios, what are the direction ratio of a unit vector? It is also LM, and as I said, direction ratios are nothing but the components of a given vector. So that given vector, it might be a unit vector also. What about the direction cosine? Since it is a unit vector, direction cosines are also LM, N. So in the unit vector, the direction ratios and direction cosines are always equal. In unit vector, direction ratios is equal to direction cosine in the unit vector. Okay, so this is one of the important thing which you need to keep in your mind. So this is regarding the direction ratios and direction cosines. So here is one of bit tricky question, that is nothing but find the vector in the direction of the vector a is equal to I cap minus 2j cap that has a magnitude 7 unit. So what is the question they are saying here is, they have given one vector, that is vector A is equal to I cap minus 2j cap. So we need to find a vector in this vector direction itself, so that vector, the new vector which I found, that is nothing but if I call it as a vector B means, which is in the direction of vector A, then this vector should have the magnitude which is equal to 7 unit. So this is what we need to find out, or this is what the question is explaining. So they have given the vector A. First thing we know that let us find what is the unit vector along this direction. So that is nothing but how we are finding the unit vector. It is nothing but vector A divided by magnitude of vector A. It is nothing but I cap minus 2j cap divided by square root of 1 square plus minus 2 square. So that is nothing but 1 by it is 4 plus 1 5, 1 by root 5 I cap minus 2 by root 5 j cap. So this is nothing but what our unit vector. So I got the unit vector of vector A. This is the unit vector A cap of the vector A. So what they said, we know that unit vector and vector A both are in the same direction. Our unit vector and vector A both are in the same direction, which is the known fact for us. So they are saying that we need to find the vector A in the same direction of vector A with that magnitude of 7 unit. So what is the magnitude of unit vector? Magnitude of unit vector is 1. So if I multiply 7 to the unit vector, what happens to the magnitude of the unit vector? It becomes 7. So now 7 times the unit vector is equal to, that is nothing but 7 into, what is the unit vector? 1 by root 5 I cap minus 2 by root 5 j cap, which is nothing but 7 by root 5 I cap minus 14 by root 5 j cap. So what is the magnitude of this vector now? It is 7. So magnitude is 7. We know that vector A and unit vector of the given vector both are in the same direction. So if any vector is in the same direction, we know that vector A and lambda times of vector A both are in the same direction. So here also, if vector A and unit vector are in the same direction, means lambda times the unit vector is also in the same direction of vector A. So 7 times the unit vector and vector A is also in the same direction. So whatever the vector which I got right now, this vector is having a magnitude 7 and this vector is in the same direction of a given vector A. This is how we are going to solve this question. So here is one of the another question. They have given the two vectors and asked you to find the unit vector along the sum of those two vectors. So first let us find the sum of these two vectors. How we are going to add these two vectors? Adding the corresponding components. 2 plus 2, 4i cap. 2 plus 1, 3j cap. Minus 5 plus 3, it is nothing but minus 2k cap. So this is the vector. I call this sum of these two vectors as vector C, that is 4i cap plus 3j cap minus 2k cap. It is nothing but sum of these two vectors. They asked us to find the unit vector of sum of these two vectors. Sum of these two vectors is nothing but this one. So we need to find the unit vector of this one. So what is the formula? C cap is equal to vector C divided by magnitude of vector C. So what is vector C? 4i cap plus 3j cap minus 2k cap and magnitude square root of 4 square plus 3 square plus minus 2 whole square. So it is nothing but 4 by root 29 I cap plus 3 by root 29 j cap plus, sorry not plus, minus 2 by root 29 k cap. This is how we are solving when they are asking us to find the sum of two vectors, and to that sum of two vectors, along that vector we need to find the unit vector. This is how we are solving. So this is regarding some of the problems which I have solved to make you clearly understand what is this component of vectors, how we are going to find the unit vectors, what is the relationship between, how we are going to find the this one direction ratio and direction cosines of any two vector, and the relation between direction cosine and the unit vector, how we are, what and all the concept which I have done till now, how it is used practically. To understand that one, I had did few of the problems to make you clearly understand the concept. So these are some of the concepts. So next, let us move to the next concept. So next is vector joining the 2 points. So till now we have came across those vectors which is passing through the origin, and those vectors which is nothing but position vectors. How we are going to represent those position vectors? Vector OP is equal to xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. It is nothing but what and all the coordinates of that points are there, respective with that components we are representing the component of those position vector. Suppose now here we are looking for vector joining any 2 points. So the point might be any 2 point in the plane. Suppose if I say let it be our point P and let it be Q. So the coordinates of point P be x1, y1, z1, and components of Q be x2, y2 and z2. And now here we are going to find vector joining these 2 points. Suppose if I need vector PQ. How we are going to write the vector PQ? Observe clearly. So here vector, we are finding vector PQ. It is nothing but, which is our initial point, P is our initial point, Q is our terminal point. So vector PQ, it is represented as writing the corresponding elements, that is from terminal point Q I am taking x2 minus x1 I cap, and again y2 minus y1 j cap plus z2 minus z1 k cap. This is nothing but the component wise representation of any two vectors joining any two component form of representing a vector joining any 2 point. Suppose if I needed this one is P, again this one is Q. Suppose if I needed vector QP, so again the component Q's are same and component P are also same. So I needed vector QP means what it happens. So the terminal point is P, initial point is Q, so it becomes x1 minus x2 I cap plus y1 minus y2 j cap plus z1 minus z2 k cap. This is how we are going to write the component form of the vectors joining 2 points given any 2 points. So this is the basic thing which we need, which is needed to solve any problem. But most important thing is we people doesn't concentrate upon certain things like how these formulas or how this is derived. So the main thing is let us understand. So this is the formula to find the vector joining any 2 points. So let us understand how this one is derived. So now let us understand how that derivation is obtained or how we are going to derive that one. So let us consider 2 point. I am going with same labeling as it is mentioned in your NCERT textbook so that you people will not get into any confusion. So let that 2 point be P1 and P2, where the coordinates of P1 is x1 y1 z1 and coordinate of P2 is x2 y2 z2. So now I am joining the point P1 and point P2 from the origin O. So this will become OP1 vector and this one becomes OP2 vector. So OP1, OP2 and what we needed P1, P2 vector. So now here what happened, we got it is nothing but triangle. We got a triangle OP1, P2. Again for this triangle, if I apply triangular law, what it happens, vector OP1 plus vector P1 P2 is equal to vector OP2. Okay, vector OP2. This one is by you applying the what? Triangular law. But what we required this one, that is vector P1 P2. So vector P1 P2 is equal to vector OP2 minus vector OP1. So what is vector OP1 and OP2? OP1 it is a position vector, OP2 it is also position vector. When OP1 is a position vector, how and x1 y1 z1 are the coordinates of the point P1 means, then what is the component form of OP1? It is nothing but x1 I cap plus y1 j cap plus z1 k cap. So OP2 it is also a position vector and x2 y2 z2 are the coordinates of point P2 means, then what is the component form of vector OP2? It is nothing but x2 I cap plus y2 j cap plus z2 k cap. So now I apply that one to this one. So it becomes x2 I cap plus y2 j cap plus z2 k cap minus x1 I cap plus y1 j cap plus z1 k cap. So now since it is taking the difference of these two vectors, again I will compare the corresponding components, that is x2 minus x1 I cap plus y2 minus y1 j cap plus z2 minus z1 k cap, which is nothing but vector P1 P2, that is nothing but the vector joining 2 points. So here we got the component form of the vector joining 2 points where x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1 and z2 minus z1 are the scalar component of this vector. Suppose if I need to find the magnitude of this vector, means how we are going to take the magnitude of a given vector? It is nothing but sum of the square of the scalar component of a given vector. So that is nothing but x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square plus z2 minus z1 whole square. This is nothing but the magnitude of this given vector. For example, if I give a point P 3, 2, 3, 0 and point Q as -1, -2 and -4. So if these two are the points and they asked us to find the vector joining these 2 points. So vector joining these 2 points from P to Q. So that is, we need to find vector PQ. So how we are going to find vector PQ? So vector PQ, as I said, subtracting how I said in the initial, that matters, it continues here. PQ -1 -2 I cap plus -2 -3 J cap plus -4 -0 K cap. So from P to Q we needed, so Q will become the terminal point. So the first point here becomes from the point Q and the second element will be from the point P. So that is nothing but -3 I cap -5 J cap -4 K cap. Suppose if they ask the magnitude also, means just take the square root of those, sum of the square of those components and find the value. You will get what is the magnitude of this vector. So this is how we are solving when we are getting the vector when they have given the 2 points. So the last concept of this section is the section formula. So before going to vector algebra concept of a section formula, let us understand or briefly understand the section formula which we have learnt in the class 11th. So there we have learnt how we are going to get a section formula when it is divided internally, when it is divided externally. So let us concentrate. First thing is internal. So P and Q, it is a 2 points in a given plane. Let coordinates of point P be x1 and y1 and coordinates of point Q be x2 and y2. So let R be a point such that R divides the point or the line segment PQ, so that R divides, it not cuts, it is not here. Listen to the word what I am using. So the point R divides the line segment PQ. So it is dividing, not cutting. So divides the line segment PQ in the ratio m:n such that PR by RQ is equal to m:n. So here we are going to find the ratio of PR by RQ. So if the ratio it is in the m:n means, then what is the coordinate of this point R? That is nothing but mx2 plus mx2 plus nx1 divided by m plus n and my2 plus ny1 divided by m plus n. Suppose if it is in the 3 dimension means there is another term, that is mz2 plus nz1 divided by m plus n. So this is the coordinate of that point R, which is dividing the line segment PQ in the ratio m:n. So this is internal division. Next is external. So when it comes to external, how it is going to be? So the thing even I have explained last year also. So here if it is a given vector P and given point P and Q such that the coordinate of P is x1 y1 and coordinates of Q is x2 and y2, let R be the point such that it divides PQ in the ratio externally such that the ratio of PR and RQ, again here also we are going to find the ratio of PR by RQ. So that the ratio is PR from P to R if it is M, and from Q to R it is N. So even the ratio it is in the form of M is to N means, then the coordinate of this point R, it will be mx2 minus nx1 divided by m minus n, and my2 minus ny1 divided by m minus n. So this is the coordinate of a point R. Suppose in this case, in the case of externally, if this was our point PQ and if it was extended like this means, again here also we are finding the ratio. This will become M and this will become N. Here also we are finding the ratio, giving the ratio, it is PR by RQ itself, which is in the form of M is to N. In that time you can say that in the denominator if you will get negative by making M minus N means, even in the numerator also we are going to get a negative, where minus minus will get cancels and get the same value. So no need to worry if it is in this way or this way, the value will be the same. So this is about internal and external form of a section formula. So in that one special case comes when if R divides PQ such that it will be a midpoint of the PQ. Suppose if it is a midpoint means, then the ratio our M and N will be equal to 1. So this formula itself, it becomes what? Value of M and N are equal to 1 means, then the coordinate of this one becomes x2 plus x1 divided by 2 and y2 plus y1 divided by 2. So this is a coordinate of the point R when R is the midpoint of P and Q, or R divides PQ such that R lies in the midpoint of the line segment PQ. So this is a brief explanation regarding the section formula which we have learnt in the class 11. Because why I explained these things means, because these things will purely carry to the vector algebra. So I just gave the brief introduction or brush up the section formula which we have already learnt. So now let us come to the section formula in the vector algebra. So let P and Q be any two points in the plane. Then let vector OP and vector OQ represents the position vector of the point P and Q. So that I will call vector OP as vector A and vector OQ as vector B. Okay, now let us join the line segment PQ. So after joining the line segment, let us consider a point R which divides the line segment PQ in both the way. One is internally, another one is externally. We will learn first internally, later we will understand externally. So let us consider a point R which divides PQ internally in the ratio M is to N. So that now what is our agenda here is to find the position vector OR. What is the thing we need to find here? We need to find the position vector OR of a point R from the origin O. Okay, so what they have said, the point R which divides PQ in the ratio M is to N internally. First case, when it is dividing internally, let us see here. So as I said, it divides ratio in the M is to N. So this is our vector PQ. So how it will be? Vector PR divided by vector PR divided by vector RQ in the ratio M is to N. Upon cross multiplication it happens M vector RQ is equal to N vector PR. Let it be stop. So now consider we got here by looking into this diagram, we are having two triangles. One triangle is triangle OQR, another is triangle ORP. So by in the triangle OQR and in the triangle ORP, by using the triangular law, we are using the triangular law to find the what we are going to find? We are going to find what is the value of vector RQ and vector PR. So for that, let us first consider OQR. So in the triangle OQR, by using the triangular law, you can see here vector OR plus vector RQ, vector OR plus vector RQ is equal to vector OQ. What we required? We required vector QR. Sorry, not QR, vector RQ. So that is here. So vector RQ is equal to vector OQ minus vector OR. So I will call that vector OR as vector R, because the main thing is we need to find what is vector R. So what is vector OQ? It is nothing but vector B. What is vector R? It is nothing but OR. It is nothing but vector R. So we got the value of vector RQ. Okay, similarly now let us consider vector ORP, that is ORP. Here again, by using the triangular law, we will see vector OP plus vector PR is equal to vector OR. So what we required? We required vector PR. So vector PR is equal to vector OR minus vector OP. So what is vector OR? It is nothing but vector R. What is vector OP? Minus vector A. So here we got vector PR and RQ. Now look into our star. Substitute the value of vector RQ and vector PR in that star. What happens? M into vector RQ, it is nothing but vector B minus vector A, is equal to N into vector PR, it is nothing but vector R minus vector A. So what it happens? M into vector B minus M into vector R is equal to N into vector R minus N into vector A. Now I will collect the vector R components one side and the rest of the components on the other side. So what it happens? M into vector B plus N into vector A is equal to N into vector R plus M into vector R. So here it becomes M into vector B plus N into vector A. Here if I take R common, it becomes M plus N. So if I bring this one to the LHS, it is nothing but vector R is equal to M into vector B plus N into vector A divided by M plus N. So the position vector of a point R which divides PQ line segment internally in the ratio M is to N, then the vector of that point with respect to the origin is nothing but MB vector plus NA vector divided by M plus N. So we got the position vector of that point from the origin when that point is dividing the line segment PQ internally. So now the second case. So again the same point P and Q origin. The line joining the point P and Q from the origin, I will call it as vector A and vector B. Now we need to find a line segment which divides the line segment PQ externally. So if this one is a line segment PQ means, so if this is a point R, it is dividing the line segment PQ externally in the ratio M is to N, such that PR is M and QR it is N. So we need to find the vector OR. So we need to find the vector OR such that that point R divides the line segment PQ in the ratio M is to N, such that PR divided by vector QR or RQ PR by QR is equal to M is to N. So when it is dividing externally like this, then our vector R, that is nothing but OR, it is nothing but MB minus N vector A divided by M minus N. So there is no full complete derivation like as it is shown in the internally. They have directly given it is nothing but this one. You can verify it as you have verified by using a triangular law for both the section, and you can verify it for externally also. So at that time externally means vector r is equal to m vector b minus n vector a divided by m minus n. Suppose if this point divides, that is where point r which divides the line segment pq such that r lies in the midpoint of pq, means then the coordinate or then the vector r or the vector position vector or, it is nothing but vector b plus vector a divided by 2, that is nothing but vector a plus vector b divided by 2. This is when the r lies in the midpoint, or r divides the line segment pq such that r is the midpoint of the line segment pq, means then the position vector or is nothing but vector a plus vector b divided by 2. So to